Hello everyone. Hey, I'm testing out a new microphone position here because I'm getting a lot of vibration. Okay. This is a cautionary tale, as often is with me. So often it is with me. For others, do not get a computer workspace that has a glass top table, because that glass is an excellent conductor of the sound whenever your computer's 5 billion fans fire up to cool the processor. So getting a lot of vibration. So I've had to move it over onto the drawing table that I have on to my left here. I have this very nice L-shape workspace going on that everyone else hates, but I happen to love. So also it is glass top, but is not connected to 16,000 fans currently going to cool my huge processors. Who am I? Well, I am the man who Cautionary Tale is about. I'm Nathan Bonner, and I'm the creator and sole animator of Indavo. I'm also the interior artist on the Big Muddy Monster comics, the true life tale of Murfreesboro, Illinois' very own cryptid, a Sasquatch-esque sort of creature. And we've got 2 issues out, which cover police reports from the 1970s and 1980s, and now we're thinking about issue 3, which would delve into the realm of super science. And be a lot more fictional and perhaps also fun in a different and weirder way. So very 1970s Marvel Monster Magazine type stuff. I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out, but I think that's the way we're going. Very kind of Plug-esque, if you know who Mike Plug is. I would hope to attain something visually along that way, although that is probably a stretch for yours truly. Anyway, so here we are. We are back, and we are basically where we have left off. I've not done a thing to this, and what we have here is we have the descent of Selexis onto the stage via a pole. Instead of firemanning pull it down and her going in a very kind of Family Guy-esque or Simpson-esque haha moment, we're going to have her spiraling in a very dynamic way. Now, last time I did all the penciling and the animation here, and what really is crucial to sell this is 2 things, 2 factors here. One, her hair swirling as she goes down will help sell the movement, because I'm only doing 8 frames a second. I'm going on 3s, as they call it. So it's 8 frames a second. Normally, it would be 12, or sometimes 24 if you're really trying to go over the top here. But for most hand-drawn animation, it's 12. Now, for action sequences, and the Japanese have started doing this way back when, back in the 80s, is that when you have an intense action sequence, you go on 3s because the your extremes or keyframes hold for longer and register more in the mind, help sell the rapid fire movement, and plus it's less work. That's my excuse anyway, not theirs. So what we have, let's review what we have. Okay, so we have a JPEG of, no, it's a PNG, sorry, of Selexis off the side as reference in her performance outfit, and that's to make sure I get the color and the line thickness equivalently close to what I've got in the rest of the animated production. Yeah, there's some thought. So here's what we've got so far. So we've got, and that's the end of the inks, and now here's the rest of the pencils as she spins around. Now, what I should not be doing is I should not be scrubbing the timeline. No, that's bad, because you may accidentally grab a frame and move it, and we don't want to move a cell. We don't want to do that. That's bad. It's happened before in live streams, and I'm going to endeavor not to do that. So what to test the motion here, what we should do is we should be using the play button. That is what it is for. Oh, look at that. Wham. So here's where we go. It's quick. It's quick. It's effective. It is what we need. Okay, so we're going to go to the frame which we need to work on now. Okay, so we're going to not waste any time on this and get going. So as you can see, this is actually shot 121. Now, there are 300 and 306, 307. I keep kind of adding them. Shots. And this actually I've subtracted a few. So we're probably about 300-ish. So, because just the flow of the animation, things I storyboard, when I get down to it, I'm like, well, actually, no, that's not necessary because I can do that in one scene with a camera movement, and there does need to be a second scene very similar to that, to the preceding scene. So about 300 shots. So this is about halfway through. Now, I don't have all the voices recorded yet. We had some scheduling issues, but by next Friday, all the voices will be in the can, and I will begin audio treatment on those voices. Now, why don't I've got a few voices. Why don't I begin? Well, okay. For consistency's sake, what I tend to do is I tend to do all the voice treatments at the same time. I go into Audacity is what I use, and I use that program to clean everything up, and that way it all sounds. If I do it all at the same time, I'm using similar settings. It will all sound the same, because if I wait a week and do it, I might forget exactly what I did. My notes may not be clear enough of which path I should go. So I do it all at the same time in order to get a consistency down. I would love to have all the cast together and do a cast reading and then come back for recordings, but everyone's schedule is always a nightmare. So getting everyone in piecemeal is the only way I can do this anymore. So unless we do a huge ass Teams call. Ooh, perhaps in the future we may do that. We may do just a Zoom call and just do a quick reading of it. We'd have an hour, and it would only take about 20 minutes to read through. Oh, that's an option. Oh, well, I should have thought of that before. Anyway, well, you can't think of everything all the time. So, anyway, flash of genius right there. Or mild competence. Okay, so let's begin and see how we're going to do here with this microphone a little bit farther away than it normally is. So I'm a little bit more tinnier than I think I should be. So let's see if I move it back, if the fans have abated ever so slightly. Maybe if I put this onto an absorbing something that would absorb the sound, like say this pad of paper. No, I can still hear the humming of the fans going. Very droning. All right, well, I think we're just gonna have to go with a slightly more tinnier voice. Oh, hang on one second. What if we do this? We do this. Nope, still bad. All right, never mind. On to the other desk. All right, much better. All right. Okay, well, sir, here we go. We are ready to begin. All right. So, and begin we shall now. And begin we shall now. And begin we shall now. Okay, let's try that. And see what we've got here. All right, so we're going to use the same settings that we had last time. And we're going to keep in mind not to draw anything that necessarily we don't need. So make sure that we get these nice sweeping movements in here. We're going to use the curved tool. The curve tool. This isn't working out that great. So I'm going to have to move over closer. Well, I can move closer, actually. Oh, yeah, that's much better. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to kind of move closer and kind of lean over a bit and talk to you that way. Okay. So I'm using a Huion Canvas 16 tablet monitor, and that affords me some mobility. It's not a huge piece of machinery like the previous one I had, although the previous one was physically larger. It was also, screen-wise, it's also physically larger. Pardon me. It's also physically larger. Much thicker and heavier. Yeah. These numbers, those numbers. That go to here, that go to here, and that go to here. Okay. We've got some overages here. We're not going to worry too much about it because it's going to flash by. So let's get in closer now and begin working on the actual figure that we have here. Okay, that's not bad. So let's see here. Go over here and trying to remember where everything's at. That will be black. We're not going to worry about that little bit right there, but we are going to make sure that she's got some shoulder blades and some spine action going on here. Yeah. Alright, so looks like I got one of those numbers going on here. Okay. I want to put that right about here. Actually, we're going to make sure that that is on the other side of this guideline that I have down here. We want to make sure. What's going to happen is I will erase this edge once the coloring is done. So it can go a little bit further into there. It's okay. Yeah, that could be a little bit better. Let's redo that line. Let's just redo that entire top line there. There we go. Ah, yeah, much better, much better. So the weather today is back to being in the 60s, upper 60s, or nearly 70 degrees, and there's a chance of rain. So if you hear any rumbles of thunder or anything like that, we know that a storm is approaching. It's supposed to be here. I'm not exactly sure when, so we're not sure about that. So we'll see how that all goes. Okay, let's see what we've got here before we put that line on there. And it goes to there, it goes to there, and that will go over to here. Alright, there we go. Like so. Okay, over there. Okay, over there, and cover that up. Okay, not bad, not bad. Okay. Now, frame by frame is very daunting. The general thought of it is, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but the important thing is to break it down to small tasks and just get started. Even though you may have to erase what you've started, it is good if you will just get it started. And it ends up not being as incredibly daunting as you might have assumed it would be. So that's kind of my recommendation on that. The mileage may vary, as always. I think that boot actually should go down like that. Uh-huh. Alright. Okay. I'm going to say that this line will go to here, and that's that frame right there. Wow. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we're going to hit New Cell, and we're going to go back to our Curve tool, and we're going to go from the back of her head right about here to here. Now, why is that? Okay, well, she's got a mohawk, and I've explained this last time. Her species all have the mohawks. They have no side hair whatsoever. Like reverse pattern baldness? Sure. Everyone's dream! Oh, yeah. But, I'm just going to go ahead and attach this. Although it would be way up here. We'll do this. It's not necessary to kind of go into that extra detail, but I just don't want to mess up the flow there too much. So, yeah, we're just going to carve that over to right about there. Okay, bam. Let's close that up to make sure that okay, when I'm this close, I'm going to use the hand tool here, and we're going to move into position and get some of these other lines. Let's zoom out ever so slightly and see what else we've got going on here. All right, yeah. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Well, I think we had a line there last time. The hair will be could be seen to be fluttering or flowing, so it's not 100% necessary that we be 150% accurate with this, but just kind of get the general gist of it down. Okay, now that we are here, let's go to here and get some of this other figurative work done. All right. Keeping in mind that we have a guide right here. Boop. Wait, let's not go over that. Well, we'll have to go over here and here, but it'll be fine. So let's go ahead and get the, well, you know, we got a few things we got to do here. Okay, so she's got, let's see, that's going to come in a little bit more than that. Let's take that out to here. Hair is going to come up to right about here, and we'll go this way. And we don't really need all that detail up there, and I just drew that anyway because that's penciled there. That's why I didn't need that either. Go and connect these bits here to make it look like there's a little bit more hair there, and we'll put it there. Okay, okay. I'm going to go ahead and draw the top part of her earlobe. Okay, so she's got like the no symbol, the restricted symbol for ear. And stuff like how our ears are constructed. Being an alien, she's got alien ears. Somewhat. They're not pointed like the Sulans have ears. Okay. Let's get in closer here because these pencil lines, you know, these pencil lines do not perhaps make as much sense as I would have hoped they would. But that'll do it. I think it's gonna flash by quick just as long as you get the impression that there's a hand there. It doesn't have to be the best drawn hand ever. Should it be the best hand drawn ever? Yes, it probably should be actually. And guess what I forgot to put here? I forgot to put this here. I'm just gonna go ahead and fill that in black because that will be filled in black anyway. Those arm bands. Don't know what you call them. We'll call them arm bands. Sure, we will. Yeah. Okay, so there's a bit of detail in here that I did not add in. It's semi-crucial. A little bit, yes. It's gonna have to be here, and it kind of goes up to here, and that's gonna be her arm. And so we just put that there. Okay. So we don't need any of this other detail here because this is all basically obfuscated by the pole. So there we go. Put that there. And let's see, again, obfuscated by the pole, but we're going to go ahead and start right about here, and we're going to take this around to here, and that's the band that's there. This detail is not needed either. Start to there. Okay, get her hot pants, shorts, whatever you want to call them. Right about here. Okay, there. Okay, good. All right, now we're going to go to here, and we'll put the boot in. Like so. And boom, there we go. Okay, so yeah, that's not bad. Okay, now we got a few other things that are sticking on the other side of the pole that we will definitely need. And that is bits of her knee and that other leg. Going to here. Oops. Did not pay attention to where I was going with that because my hand was in the way. Common problem. Alright, there we go. Ow. Okay, so that's what we need. Let's take over to here. Let's take a quick peek and make sure. That's pretty much everything we need. Alright, okay. We go on to the next one. Let's add in a new cell. Okay, now there's even less showing. So let's go over here. It's spinning around, still pretty early on in the descent. So to here, to here, to here, and we're gonna take that up to there. Okay. Oh, we need to put on that armband. Let's go back one and double check and make sure. Like I did. Yes, that was what I did. Okay. And the other arm was not visible enough to have it. No, it was not. Okay, good. Right. Just double checking. Just double checking a few things. All right. So put that here. All right. Alrighty. Okay, let's add in that there. Ooh, let's do a little bit of eraser cleanup on that one. Okay. Not bad, not bad. There. To there. Okay. Line there. Put that line down right about here because we don't need a lot of that. Okay. I think that band that I drew on there is in the wrong position, so I'm repositioning it. Yeah. On the fly decisions. It didn't look right. It probably was right, but I'll probably go back and change that later. But for now, we're going to stick to that. And no, that would not be visible after all. But I'm going to say that this soul is... Now, the souls will probably be gray instead of black, so that's what we'll probably do there. All right, so there we go. And this one is... let's stop. All right, so let's go to here. Let's go back and take a look out. All right, there is just a bit, and I can probably leave this out, but for the sake of continuity, let's put that in there and maybe put a line or two to say, hey, that is still her hair fairly behind her. All right, new frame. Using the curved line tool, we're going to go ahead and put a good deal of this. Oh, dang it. Sometimes if you've got to keep that pin down before you start curving it out. If you let it up on it even slightly, it will say, oh, you're ready to do the curving. And it's like, yeah, no, I was not. I was not. No. Okay, let's get in closer here and take a look at this hair. We're going to come back to that little bit right there first later, but we're going to go ahead and do hair is kind of on quote unquote on top of the shape order here, so I tend to do that that way I'm not having to worry about that I'm obfuscating something or I've drawn something that I don't necessarily need. The skull goes down to there. Here's gonna go to there. Okay, now we add in some of these lines to make this a little bit, sell this a little bit more. We've got some hair things going on here. Okay, not bad. Ooh, that's a little bit from right there. Let's get in closer. The smaller eraser. There we go. And just, even though it won't, well, it didn't make it. It could though. Yeah, barely. Put another one in. Okay, let's get into this hand. Let's go back to the arm first. Okay. This hand a little bit more hand-like. Let's get in closer. Yes, like I said, one of my big failings is that I do everything from 18,000 feet. I gotta get in closer in the inking. I see that a lot of artists will do like these really kind of thicker brush through things with their comic-y art that they do digitally, and I want to try to endeavor, but maybe not 100% necessary since this is not supposed to be comic animation, slightly different. So, but when I'm doing my digital inking, it's something I need to work on. And yeah, we all have things we need to work on. Nobody's perfect. Oof. Speaking of working on things, it's gonna go back a bit. There we go. And we'll just kind of do that on these things. Okay, there we go. Excellent. There we go. Up to there. There we go. And her ears probably right about in there like so. Alright, there we are. Not bad, not bad, not bad. There we go. And let's see what we got. Okay. On to the next frame. Frame 10. Okay. Making progress. New cell. And keeping with the theme of doing the hair first, we'll do the hair first. All right, not bad. All right, back to the pen tool. Okay, we're just kind of getting the general shape of the hair right now. Don't worry about the... Go back to the inline tool, connect this up to here. Makes coloring easy. So I'll use the magic wand for coloring. And we'll discuss my coloring inadequacies here. Because, okay, normally what we should do is we should probably make another animation layer and color the line art underneath that. So it'd be on a layer underneath the inks right here. And as you probably guess, I'm not going to do that. I just noticed something. Is that visible or not? You know what? The top of it's going to be that armband is what I'm thinking about, and I think that the top of that armband is going to be visible right about there. And we're just going to go ahead and fill that in, just to make sure that's filled in. Hair by hand. There, it's taken care of. Moving on right along. Let's go back to here. Okay. All right. Let's get in on that arm. And make sure to go back to our pen tool. And here we go. There we are. All right, make sure that that band is right about there to there. And I went over a little bit there. It's not too bad. We're not going to scribble that in this time. We're actually going to do this like we're civilized by using the paint bucket. Aha. All right, let's focus in on this hand and try and salvage this incomprehensible chicken scratch of a pencil, which I'm trying to pencil right now, and I shouldn't be. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's say that goes to there, goes to there. So that is just holding on barely right about there, like so, and then we go up to here, and there. Okay, that's not bad. All right, so we're gonna go down into. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this. Let's see. What I think this would benefit from right here is a bigger eraser. Haha. First. All right. We're gonna put a little bit of more of a detail in the hair there to kind of Okay. All right. So what do we got here? I don't know. Looks like her head's right out here, the top of her ear, which I did not draw in, should be right about here. The back side of that, we'll put that there and try and see if that helps sell this in here. All right, so there we go. Close that up. Close that up. Okay, just to make sure that we've got that all closed up. So, put in the knee officially, and boot goes to here, and the boot goes to here. All right, bam. All right, let's zoom out, take a quick peek. All right, let's go on to frame 11. All right, here we go. Her descent is increasing. The gravity on Torokanka is probably a little bit lighter than Earth, but yeah, no, that's not bad. Probably like 90% of Earth gravity. And as I may have mentioned before, she comes from a planet which has a very high gravity compared to us, probably somewhere nearly 2 Gs of gravity. Wouldn't be totally oppressive to us, but it would be. We would feel a little bit weighed down, I'd say. It's kind of like John Carter in reverse, her species. It's red people being on a planet with and by red people I mean like 100% yellow, 100% magenta. Planet with lower gravity like Mars is compared to Earth, they actually have higher gravities, therefore they have a stronger physiognomy. Just like the Centaurans. Oh wait. The John Carter movie, they said that they had originally planned to have, all the Barsoomians, like humanoid ones, like Deja Thoris, be red, but it just looked like it had really bad sunburns. So it's like, well, you didn't formulate your red enough. I mean, that's what they should look like. I mean, come on now. I didn't care for the whole red tattoo thing. It just, I don't know. I still hope for a actual adaptation of the original John Carter stuff. I don't know how true to the book it can ever be, since nearly everyone on Mars is not wearing anything, and I don't think there's a rating level that you can get to on that type of adventure. So there may never be a book accurate adaptation. You think, oh, Deja Flores is described as one of the most beautiful women ever in existence, and yes, that's true. But there are just like a handful of actual women characters in the book, so therefore there's a lot of dudes. Be a lot of dudes flopping about, if you get my drift. Be unfortunate. Anyway, unless that's your thing. I mean, if that's your thing, then great. But your mileage may vary. So anyway, I can't see like an accurate version ever being getting made. So maybe something on Netflix, something animated, perhaps. But anyway, enough of the Barsoomian adaptation problems. Even when somebody like Lasseter couldn't pull it off, I don't know if anybody can. So, and plus, nearly every sci-fi franchise of the last 100 years has kind of dipped from that well ever so slightly. Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers started dipping from that well, and just continued. So that's why I think a lot of audiences kind of felt like maybe that was a little bit on the old hattish side, and it was very, very old hat, 100 years old. Anyway. All right. Go ahead and put this leg in since I'm right here. Huh? Oh dear. Okay. So okay, and onward to frame number 12. Hey, we're halfway there. All right, and doing pretty good at that, I think. Potential spam calls coming in. And let's see here. All right, start off with the hair again. Kind of swooping down. Curve work or not. Not so much, but it'll be a good start. Okay. Let's go back into the pen tool and get that all figured up really, really quickly here. Okay. As I mentioned previously in the previous live stream, you drew all that detailing you really didn't need to. Oof. Anyway, so I'm just gonna cut off what we need right about there. Don't need all that nice facial detailing. Pen here. All right. Okay, let's see what we've got going on here. Alright, let's zoom out a bit. Make sure we get the form right. Ooh. Alright, that's pretty good. Alright, let's make sure that the details that are showing are going to be showing. Not to try to overdo with what's not going to be on screen. Okay, so that right up to there. Go down to there, like so. And we don't need any of that detailing there. I go to there. Maybe a bit of that, I don't know. Again, I don't think any of that's showing, but we're just going to go ahead and put a bit of that on there. Okay, we'll go down to here. Okay, I don't think we need any of that other there. Okay, back up to the arm. A little bit closer here. There we go. All right. Any details that's showing on the other side of the pole is what we need now. So let's go ahead and get this knee again. Okay. And this other foot here. Okay, so there we go. Okay, going on to 13. On the downhill stretch, as it were. Okay, starting out with the hair again, and just for consistency's sake, we'll go back to there, on that out to there, out to there. Okay, we don't really need it to be too. Let's switch over to the pen. We got a few things to handle. Line there. There we go. There we are. Ooh, it's gonna be a tough call there. That's not gonna quite quite show up, but you know what? We'll put it in there anyway. And we'll kind of put that in there, here, right up to there. Okay. Get in a little bit closer and clean up some of this detailing a little bit here. Okay. All right, not bad. We've got to put that power band on there again. Wow, I tell you what. My frame-to-frame consistency is breathtaking. Wow. Somewhere around early AI, I suppose. Anyway. Oops, it's coming over a little bit there. Let's go bring that back in. And put that on there, and that on there. There, and to there. Okay. Okay. Oops. Close up this leg here. That'll make that easier for the coloring. So this will make that easier here. All right. Okay, let's go on to 14. Things are beginning to slow down a little bit on the old actiony front. Let's once again begin with the hair, though. Seems to be a good starting point. Since I have deemed it to be a crucial import to get the idea that there is motion going on here. So that's kind of why I always start with it. Not bad. Okay. Continue on with the head since we're here. That ear's kind of funky. Ear's kind of funky. Let's see if we can clean that up just a little bit more. Go like so. Yeah. All right, that's a little bit better than it was. curve that up. A little too pointed there. I don't think it's going to register, but just in case it does. Going over here. At the back of her neck here. Okay. Alright. There to there to there. Alright. That. Ooh, we're missing an armband. Did I get that armband on there? I did. Alright. Let's notice that I'm missing those armbands on like every other frame. Because those were probably the in-betweens. Probably. Yeah. Okay. Not bad. Kind of do some adjusting here to kind of make this hand a little bit less of a problem child. Alright, that's not bad. Well, it's not great, but we'll go with it. We'll roll with the punches. Okay. The Tezuka School of Animation book was put out is really good. It talks about inking on it, and it takes a very 1980s/1970s view of your cellular inking. Is that you should still have thinner lines on top and darker lines on bottom, whereas modern anime inking tends to all be the same size. That's why a lot of them just use the curve tool to do all of the inking on anime productions. Which, you know, I'm kind of using a bit of a mix of both. Not committing either way, I suppose. Patterns are developing. Okay. Whoops. Yeah, went over there. And some of those aren't going to register, but I just for, you know, might as well kind of make it look as the best it possibly can. You know, because sometimes your individual frame don't look all that great, but when put together, the animation really makes it good. And sometimes your individual drawings look great, but then the motion's so terrible. I'm thinking of the anything ACOM did in the 90s. Individual drawings look fine, and when they're animated, it's something's wrong. Oh, ACOM. They were used because they were inexpensive. And the suits love inexpensive studios. Especially in the early to mid 90s. Once you get kind of in the late 90s, that's when animation quality takes another bump up. Somebody has said, you know what, we need to make this look good. I'm thinking of the American Godzilla cartoon based on the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie. Was really well animated, and I want to say the Men in Black cartoon was as well. They represent a kind of a new wave as we were going into the 2000s, kind of getting us away from the dodgier ACOM-esque effects. So I was on pin tool, sorry about that. Now I am. And we're going to go to there, to there, to there, there. Right. What we've got going on here. We're going to go over and over and over and over and over and over. Okay. Okay, ma'am. Zoom out a bit and put some lines on that hair. Okay. Now, could this have been done in Moho? Well, I mean, yes, at this angle, a new model could have been rigged up, possibly with some frame by frame point animation, probably could have made this work. But I think it would just have been easier to just draw it out and color it in frame by frame. That's kind of the metric that I use to just determine what in the Indavo Animated Productions is going to be frame by frame versus what's going to be tweened out. You can do some amazing things with Moho, and probably Toon Boom Harmony as well. But there comes a time when you just have to kind of bite the animation bullet as it is, and I've always been looking for improving my frame by frame capabilities, and so that's why this is going on like this. So let's see here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see where we're at. Hey. It's quick, but that's the entire point. We don't want the audience to be scrutinizing this too much. The flaws will become apparent. So that's why I've invited you all to scrutinize this. Anyway. Okay. Here, and we're going to go down to here, but we're going to put her collar right about there. Okay, that could go there. Alright, get some shoulder blade action going on there. Okay. Alright, so there. That's not totally not going to show up, so why even put that line there? I don't know. Well. Boot. There. Okay. And to go to there, and I just crossed over into that hair too much. Shut that off a bit, get in closer, and repair that line. Scoosh. Alright. Sometimes I fill in the black areas, and sometimes I don't. I think I'm going to just wait for colorization on the rest of that. Question is that supposed to be her boot going up there, or is that supposed to be the band? Let's say that's the boot and the band is right here. And I'm just going to call that in right now, because there's no such thing as consistency. Anyway. A bit of dust falling on the screen, trying to get it off. That's just cat hair. More than likely it was cat hair. Yes, I have two cats, Kodiak and Princess. Brother and sister? Kodiak's a big kind of doofy black cat, and Princess was the runt of the litter, and she is tiny, white and gray, and generally kind of mean. She definitely has high opinions of herself. What's her name? She hated me for a very, very long time. She's decided that I'm generally okay now. If there's a cat that's going to get into something, it's going to be her. So she has decided that is her role in the household. And you can't really, argue with the cat about that. Okay, so I determined that there you go. Yeah, that arm was a little janky, and I'm trying to clean it up a bit here to make it a little bit less janky. And did I succeed? Sure. We'll say yes. Note that I'm really going off the pencils on this hand, because I said, and that's a little bit about like a Garfield animated production hand. We're just going to go with it. Yeah. Go back up. Okay, on to frame 17. Now we're winding it down here. 5 more frames to go. Bum, 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 bum. Coloring, actually, it's going to be fairly easy. So I'll do a run to make sure all the solid blacks are in, and then it's going to be just like a bit of the flood fill red. I wouldn't know why going on here. And I just can't quite get there. Nope. So we're going to probably do halfway there. Sometimes those curves I've made are just too impossible for the curve tool to make, so you have to do a double curve, and that can be difficult. Now, the way to get these lines to link up would be to do these as a vector. That way you could get the vector edges to line up automatically. Kind of snap too. I'm doing this rastered though, so but yeah, if you were going to do this like professionally, like for like a company, I would probably recommend going that way. Why don't I go that way anyway? I don't know. I just like keeping it. I don't know. I like keeping things raster on my own stuff. Call me a Luddite. I don't know. This is the way things go. Don't want to change. Don't cotton to it. So let's see here. Anyway, okay, we're continuing on with the line tool, getting around the face. Get this ear. This ear is going to be kind of very... I don't know why I'm just not filling those in black, because they're just not going to show up. But I'm not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put her neck on here just for a second, so I can kind of adequately guesstimate where that's going. Okay, there we go. That's much better. Okay. So let's get that shoulder in there like so. Shoulder blade. Oh, getting the shoulder. Whoa. Okay, around there and check that other arm. That other arm is obscured by the massive amounts of hair. Go figure. Not doing any of the fingernails, they just won't show up. They'd be a couple of pixels in color anyway, so we'll just fudge that out this time and pretend like it does not exist. They're there, but we're not going to worry about them. How's that sound? Actually, I don't even know if the Moho figure has fingernails, painted fingernails. I don't think she does. We're not going to worry about it. She needs to worry about it. Well, me. No. All right. I have to be careful though, because I've got little voidy bits like that, which will have to be made transparent again once I haven't reddened them out. Yeah, have to watch out for that in the coloring phase. Coloring Nathan will have to deal with that. Inking Nathan disregards all considerations to that effect. Yes. Coloring phase is not really one that will take a great amount of time. So I'm hoping to have this all ready to go. To that effect, let's get the After Effects going. It's going. Did After Effects start? No, it's been a launch. Excuse me one moment. Let me double click on that. And come back here. Okay. Probably should have After Effects fired up way before now, but yeah, well. I can hear the nice, relaxing stretching of my paper texture screen protector that I have for this Huion tablet. Gives you that nice papery resistance, which is something that I need because I don't like drawing on plastic. I've said this before. Old man yells at cloud. Anyway, it's true. I don't. I do occasionally yell at clouds. Can't help it. Alrighty. So put that in there, like so. Okay. There we go. And none of this detail is visible. So I've noticed that. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. Yeah. There we go. That hair probably should be coming down a little bit lower on the back of her head. It's over there. Excuse me. All right. There we go. Okay. Oh, 19. We're close. Close to having this all wrapped up now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so detail that I just saw, I'm going to add in that I don't have yet. That in there. Okay. Back to the let's get the hair in here as best we can. Okay. Yes, this music has been copyright struck before. Somebody should make a claim. But I'm using Music Maker MX, and these are just tracks that I randomly put together that were soothing into a 5-minute art stream thing. And I always say I'm going to make a new one, and I have not yet. I need to have an alternate one, yes. I recognize this fact, and I apologize profusely, intensely, even. Yes. One day. Quite soon. Just not today. All right. Let's clean up that cheek on the far side. I don't like how that looks. There we go. Aunt Alexis has a lean and hungry look, as they say. Using very, very light pressure on the pen. All right. All right, continuing on with some pen working here. Let's go ahead and get some... Whoa. Oops. It's artistic drift, and I mentioned this before. So if you don't pay attention to your model sheet, certain parts of anatomy will just continue to grow in size. This affects both male and female artists at various skill levels. So you can make something about the male gaze out of that. I don't know. Yada, yada, yada. We'll say that the main supposition behind the male gaze is kind of based on a load of crap. Mostly on the movie Jimmy Stewart movie Vertigo, where he has intense vertigo and he sees a woman fall to her death. A woman who but finds out later that this woman is actually was an imposter. Yes, a woman was killed, but the woman that he fell in love with was impersonating that woman. And when he finds her later, he kind of makes her dress up to be the woman. And this is the male gaze. Oh, it's terrible. But this lady who he's found, who's making her dress up as a woman he fall in love with. This was concocted by one of his quote unquote friends and this lady to come up with this plot, because they knew that he witnessed it, and they went into an asylum for 6 months afterwards. So they killed the woman and drove him crazy intentionally and toyed with his heart. And when he makes her dress up as this is bad. She took part in the murder plot, and he's trying to get to the bottom of it. And so it's basically the basis for it is I don't know, horse crap. it's morphed, you know. I believe in the years since it was originally, but the original theory is fatally flawed. As many media theories are from the 1960s, which are based on various Marxist principles. Yes, well, based on some principle that hasn't killed 100 million people in the 20th century. And maybe you'll have a point that I'll listen to. Lenin said, well, Lenin had the brutal shot, so. Heck with him. That's about as spicy politically as it gets around here. I fairly say it. Oh, you don't want to hear what I think about Hitler. Oof. Anyway, Hitler was a really bad dude. But somehow come to power, no one had shot him. Miraculously. Somewhat miraculously. Yeah, spicy. Woo, I know. Hot take. Woo. Hitler bad. Wow. Wouldn't have guessed that one. Okay, so we're doing pretty good here. Okay. Alright, let's get in and get some of this detailing here done. Alright, let's take a break from this and make sure that episode 3 is fired up on the yes. The sound of episode 3 being fired up. Okay. Oof. Beginning point to change out the plastic nib in my pen. Beginning to get a little blunted, I think. Oh yes. Yeah. Okay, well. Go down to 5 real quick. And back up to 6 to make sure we have consistency across the board. Yeah. Okay. his other arm. Here. Okay. So there we go. All right, we're getting very close here. This is round 20, so we have 4 more to go. And let's see where we're at. Okay, new cell. Mm-hmm. Let's do with the hair again. It's not quite like that, though. Yes. Yeah, almost. Alright, yeah. There we go. Alright, back to the pin tool. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Ooh. There could be some deficiencies that I have to worry about here. Yes. Yeah, man. Alright, well, let's see if I can salvage this a little bit, because I've noticed a few things a little off, but we'll pretend like maybe make it all work. Like so. Alright. Okay, well. There we go. Okay. Well, I can see where the deficiencies are. Well, this is not quite what I had in mind. Okay, so it's going to come over there, it's going to come over there, it's going to come over there. There, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, there. Okay, that's going to go up to there. Okay, there. I think that salvaged that. And for the most part. Continuing on. Yeah, that band I thought was probably in the wrong spot, so I moved it. Yes. Okay. Oh, 22. Things are going, ooh. It's a little bit bigger there, isn't it? Is that fine? Let's see. Well, one second. Let's see what we've got right so far. Oh wow! All right, not bad. Okay. Like I said, I did again. It's really not so much the figurative elements; it's the hair's movement, which really sells to the eye. The observer's eye that this is a spinning motion. Just watching various mowers go by. Hopefully no one's going to start mowing out here. That'd be very loud and unfortunate. At least since we're very, very close to having this wrapped up for the most part. For the most part, anyway. Make that head just a scoosh smaller if we can. Go. Okay. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Well, let's just do it. It'll be fine. Okay, so. Yeah, the fingers aren't really drawn with joints in them right now. We're just kind of drawing them out. They're not going to be on screen long enough, hopefully, to invite any inspection about why they don't have joints. Introspection and inspection. Okay. Alrighty, and armband there. Did I get the armband on the other side? No, but... Alright, so I've got a call. I'll have to call them back here in just a short bit here. Phone's on silent, but occasionally I do see messages up. Okay. That's up the corner of my eye. So, alright, well, they got 2 more frames to go. Everyone can chillax for 5 seconds here. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get that next frame done. We have 1 more after this. We are at the end. Okay, so as you notice, the hair is beginning to kind of come back closer to its proper and natural link. That in there. Okay. Okay, and we're going to want these numbers to go up to here, and then the soul of the boot will show there. So, okay. Oh, there we go. All right. And the band here. Well, this hand is terrible. I'm gonna pretend like it's not. Ooh, the sound is bad. Oh, God. Yeah. All right, let's get a little closer. Nope. 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 But I can rescue it if given enough time. We'll go like these. All right, there we go. All right, well, it's going to be on screen just for a little bit. Oh, there is a little bit of his hand showing over here. Well, like so. All right. And finally, the last frame. Pardon me. All right. So here we are, the last inked frame ready to go. And what I have here, okay, now to the pen tool, and let's wrap up this hair. One last time. Hmm. I can fill this in. Although I probably shouldn't have, but I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. Okay. Let's see where we're at here. Is anything going to be showing on the other side? No, there's nothing going to be showing on the other side of the pole. Oh, right, that's weird. All right, well, good. All right, so there we are. Hide the pencil layer. Let's go back. And here we go. Now, what I should be doing actually looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I was going to erase around those line edges, but now I've decided it'd just be easier in the long run for me to actually cut the pole out of the background PNG and copy that onto another layer and have that layer above the animation layer. Well, no, actually, no, that won't work either. No, you have to do it. I'll have to do it. I'll have to cut off the edges. Yep. It was a thought for a second, and I was like, no, that's stupid. Never mind. No, well. Alright, so let's begin coloring. Alright, so like I said, normally what you should do when you're in the coloring phase is you should not do what I'm doing now. You should not be flood filling things out like that. Oh, you can't do it like that. Oh, no. It helps if you selected things first. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to select this out. And I am going to choose a gray right there, and that will be the soul of that. So hit save. That way we have that all saved. And so now, filling the blacks is probably what we're going to do. We're going to do the black pass first. No offense. Let me put that down to here, to there. Let's go to there. All right. And we're just going to do this for each of the drawings by using the Magic Wand Selector tool, or whatever it is called in Clip Paste Pro. I think it's the same thing. It is the same thing as in Photoshop, but it might be called something differently to avoid copyright lawsuits, theft of intellectual property, that sort of thing. I think Adobe would do that. Adobe would definitely do that. Yeah. Well, a good thing I was doing this because I found out that I had missed a thing or two on my original pass. There we go. All very easily corrected. Yes. And on we go. Yeah, normally what you do is you make a layer underneath the ink layer, and if you're going to do a lot of coloring effects, I am not. So that's why I'm kind of just foregoing all of that at this time period. And Okay, so as we're going on here, this is coming together pretty nicely. Okay, this is the thing that I hate, this bar right here. I have changed the settings on that several times, make it go away, and it keeps popping back up. I think every update that they have, it pops back up. So it's like a default setting they want you to have. And I don't like it because you can't select anything underneath it. It's in the effing way. Anyway, one minor complaint about Clint Pacer Bureau, an otherwise top-notch program. That's just me trying to figure out how to permanently set the preferences to my preferences. Alright, and deselect. As you can see, this process is much faster, but I am running low on time. I'm going to try at least get the flat reds down, and that way we can see what the final character will look like. At least with a little bit more color than I've got at the moment. All right. Okay, and like I said, we're getting closer. Weirdly enough, though I'm down on ACOM repeatedly, what actual piece of animation art do I own from the 90s that is actually on cells? It is an ACOM produced cell. It's from Exo Squad, episode 10. And it's Admiral Winfield and Captain Marcus discussing mutiny. So these two old guys with bad haircuts. Individually, I mean, the drawing by itself, the cell itself is top-notch beautiful. And I will say that by the time they got to the later Exo Squad in the first season, they actually, ACOM was really, I guess they nailed them down on how this should work. So they were pretty good. Unfortunately, I believe that going up to a larger second season run was a mistake. They should have kept it at 13 episodes a season and tried to focus on quality rather than quantity. I think it's the poor they did get to kind of wrap up the main Neo-Sapien conquest of the solar system storyline, but they were left dangling, and it's unfortunate. Overall, very well done. Writing, still good. It's just that in season 2, you've got like generic thruster animation that you don't need in space. And overall, it's a bit of a drop in the quality that you had established at the, especially toward the end of season 1. You kind of went backwards just to the raw amount of material that had to be produced. Still, well, a few standout episodes that were obviously farmed out to other studios, perhaps Toei, perhaps TMS. But yeah. So even though I'm down on ACOM, I actually own it. The only animations that I own from any company is actually from ACOM. So is that ironic? Yes, probably. Like, I really do enjoy the Five Faces of Darkness from Transformers, but I also acknowledge that this is a bit of a step down. Whenever they tell you that, Transformers had better animation than GoBots, I always kind of point to season 3 and how the GoBots kind of skunks Transformers season 3, except for a few standout episodes. Call of the Primitives being one of them. On animation quality, of course. Ooh, that needs to close up. Okay, so there we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a quick run down through. That one's done. We're going to do a quick run down through. I'm going to get my... we're going to select this red right here. And we're going to do... Alright, so the best thing to do on this case would be to actually... and then deselect, and then flood fill. What we're doing is we're selecting all. Select all. So deselecting, and then we're using the holding down the Alt key and clicking on our magic wand. We get that nice deselect there. And then we'll go out and we'll pick out the individual colors. Her hair, of course, will not be this color, but we're just kind of flattening it out for later. Called flats, but there's not going to be any highlights, except those I add in After Effects, of course. So I hit deselect when I shouldn't have, out of habit. Alright. Anyway, so this is what this is going to be like right here. Every time I hit select, I make sure that there are no weird things going on. There are no weird things going on. Okay, and we're back to here, and we're back to here. Oh, there's a break. See, that's what I was worried about. Where is that break at? Oh, I see it. Ooh, I need to go back to here. That gray selected. I'll select that gray for the bottom of the boot there. Later. All right. All. And now we'll go back. And there we go. So this is what I was kind of worried about earlier. I gotta make sure these voids are avoided. I always do it later if I miss one, but I'm trying not to miss one, believe it or not. So I can hit save. Alright, let's make sure that this is going in. Okay, that's not bad. There was a problem with the what would be her right shoulder, but I thought no, it'll be fine. Let's fudge through it. Deltoid line, sure, very thick deltoid line. But nah, we'll just keep it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll fix it in post. It'll be great. Oops. Well, see, I missed a void. Oh, and I missed another one right down here. Most embarrassing. There we go. Oh, got to get those open areas, or else the line's going to change. Line art's going to change in color, and that's not what we want. No, sirree. All right. All right. This is coming together pretty good. Pretty good. Like I said, there's still a few bits of color to go on, but this will give you a idea of what the final product will look like. The final product will look like. More or less. So, I am, unfortunately, running low on time here. The clock is ticking, as they say. Aha! And I think that, yeah, that does it. Let's save. Okay. Turn it up to 100. All right, let's see what this looks like. All right, hey, I think this looks pretty good. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think that, like I said, the hair movement really does seem to sell it. Oh, yeah. All right. That being the case, we're going to hit save. And I thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or comments or complaints about my technique, or my views on World War II politics, feel free to let me know. So anyway, thanks for watching, and like I said, I hope you have a great day, and next time we'll be moving on to something else, probably something with dialogue. Wow! As we proceed on with Indavo Episode 3. Nearly a third of the way through the animation already, because a lot of the effect shots have been done, like space shots and stuff like that, and some of the non-speaking character animation has been done as well. So there are some fight scenes that we're going to be frame by framed out as we get down toward the end of the episode, but I may wait until the very end before doing those. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and